But as expected, the Dow Jones Industrial Average off to a strong start this morning, building on last week's gain, a very healthy one for the markets right now. The Dow up about 183 points. We're seeing a broad-based rally today. All 10 of the S&P 500 indexes or sectors are higher today, and the Dow is actually trading right now at its best level since January 13th. What's driving it, as you guys were mentioning earlier, we're seeing strength in oil, so that's giving a lift to energy stocks today. The risk-on trade as well, as a number of metals are higher, despite the weakness we're seeing in gold, which is off $21 in today's session. Transport's also looking really good, up 158 points right now. All of this coming on the back of a strong session in Asia overnight, despite a decline in the Japanese flash PMI. As you can see, the Nikkei was higher. And in Europe today, as all this talk starts to swirl about a possible Brexit, that vote, of course, in the UK set for June, the European markets are somewhat mixed, all of that coming into today's session. But actually, they've just turned higher now. Let's take a look at the energy sector, because as we are noting, oil is a factor today, and that in turn is driving oil stocks higher. Oil is up just about $1.61 right now, and you can see all of them, the drillers, the major oils, et cetera, all benefiting from that today. We're also looking at miners because, as I mentioned earlier, other than gold, the metals are showing strength as well today, and take a look at that. Freeport-McMoRan up over 10%, Rio Tinto up over 5%, and of course BH Peloton up 5% as well. We want to check the banks because Goldman Sachs came out with a note today actually cutting estimates for the big banks here in the U.S. The reason being they expect capital markets revenue to be the weakest in the first quarter than it has been for years, of course, because of volatility in the markets and a decline in issuance. Nevertheless, you're seeing a bounce back today. Keep in mind these stocks have sold off hard in the last or since the start of the year. So we're again seeing a bounce back with the general market today. And just quickly, a couple of other stocks to watch. Amgen getting positive news on a late stage trial for an osteoporosis drug. Nevertheless, its stock pulling back. GM considering a pullout of a big investment in Brazil because of political and economic uncertainty there. And we're watching Yahoo, as we have been since last week, on expectations or reports, of course, the company is going to put itself looking to sell certain parts of the company and the company itself. So that continues to be a stock to watch. So again, the Dow Jones Industrial Average now at the highs of the day, up 194 points. Now let's go to Chicago. Check in with Rick Santelli at the CME. Rick?
Well, thanks, Mary. And you hit one of the big dynamics. It doesn't matter how it really fits into the global financial puzzle with regard to the price of oil. We know that the machines like to create relationships, and they're going to pound them until they stop working. If you look at yields today, our yields are either higher or unchanged, depending which part of the curve you're looking at. On the higher end, you look at short maturities, look at a 2-day of twos, look at the formation of today relative to Friday's session, and when you flip it a little further down the curve to 10-year on a 2-day, you can see what I mean. The right side isn't as aggressive as the left side. We're basically unchanged on 10s. So we're up a couple 2s. We're unchanged on 10s and 30s. If we go to Boons, look at a 2-day of Boons. You know, they had a low yield that was testing 18 basis points.